All right, all right, all right. Welcome, welcome. I was with my wife. We were away. This was some years ago, before we had children, so we had dispendable income and time. And as a lot of you know, uh, when you become a parent, that is not as easy to come by. So I say all that to say my wife and I were vacationing in this nice area. I try to visit churches, and when I visit different churches, because I run a church, I always am excited to encourage the pastor. Well, I got to the church. I sat down, small church, had a beautiful singer. I remember how beautiful this singer was. Like, she was amazing. She sang all the right notes, and it was just moving. Then the preacher got up. Now, I'm a preacher, so I'm not saying I'm biased, but I'm always excited for it. I'm not one of those people that I go and I go, how's this person going to be? Are they going to communicate to the level that I? No, I'm not like that. Communication is hard. It has its own set of challenges. So I totally get the problems with it. But I went in. I was expecting a sermon, and this is how he began. He started off and he said, I have to apologize. I called the elders. Nobody returned my call. I called the deacons. Nope, didn't return my call. I called the musician director. Nobody returned my call. And I told them I woke up not feeling very great and I didn't feel like preparing. So, since nobody returned my call, I just threw this together. He opens up his Bible. He goes, we'll just see how this goes. Now, what do you think I was thinking in that moment? Well, let me reframe that. What would you be thinking at that moment? In that moment, what are you thinking? Like, just really, let's run this through. What do you think was going through my mind? What would be going through your mind if I, as your pastor, or if I, as a guest speaker, got up and was like, hey, I don't know how this is going to go. Hope it goes well, but I mean, your guess is as good as mine. And you just throw caution to the wind, right? Well, I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, I hope this sermon isn't long, which it was. It was like an hour long. Too long. I have no problem with hour-long sermons. I have a problem with hour-long sermons when the preacher gets up and says, I did not look at this sermon until, late this morning. I have a problem with that. I also don't have a problem with long sermons when the preacher actually wants to be there. You can want to be somewhere and project that. But dude didn't even try. He's like, I don't want to be here. I have a cold. Which just between me and you, I didn't really hear the cold. Like, I didn't hear any scratchiness or anything. I'm like, I think you just wanted to not be here because you're in a nice area and you probably wanted to have a nice day out. And, but anyway, that was just me being cynical. So the bottom line is, from that point on, from that interaction, from that 5-minute discussion, that introduction, I was gone. That's it. I was out. I was like a pregnant lady's belly button, outie. Without apology, too, because my wife was like, well, what did you think of that? And I'm not even saying what he said was bad. It wasn't. And I'm not that critical. But what I thought of that was, he doesn't want to be here, so I don't want to be here. And so I'm going to give you what I call the unpardonable sin when it comes to speaking. And so many of you, if you are a communicator in any way, you've done this. I've done this. And I've asked for forgiveness about it. And I'll never do it again, no matter what. I will never do it again. Here is the unpardonable sin. And this is something that happens a lot with communicators. You never want to start out a talk, a meeting, or even a one-on-one by saying, I'm sorry, or by making an excuse. Unforgivable, unpardonable. You don't want to do that. And you have to keep in mind that so many times we do it. Here's how it looks. I'm so nervous. This is the first podcast I've ever done. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be good. You have to let me know if it's good. I'm so nervous. Here's another way it comes out. Oh, I'm not as smart as the last presenter. Oh, man, he was so good, right? Like, just bring him back up here. I suck compared to him. Or, well, you know what? This isn't my forte, and I was a little behind on studying, and my slides aren't lined up. And you know what? To tell you the truth, I just hope that this works out. That's one of the same things. You don't want to start off your interaction with your audience with any kind of apology. Now, here's why you do. I'm going to tell you why you do it, and then I'm going to tell you why you don't want to do it. Why you do it is you want their sympathy. I know. I know. You want their sympathy. You want to be like, oh, this poor guy, his deacon board, they didn't even return his call. Look, the poor guy is sick. Oh, let's just not care about the quality of his presentation. Who cares? I know why. I know why you apologize. You're like, oh, look, they did a good job. They said they were going to suck, and they did so good. Like, I really thought they were going to suck for a minute there, and they blew it out of the water. No. We gave you the audience's secret last week, and that was your audience is rooting for you. They actually, believe it or not, contrary to what you might think, they don't want to come to whatever your talk is, to whatever your meeting is, thinking that it's going to suck. They don't want that. What they do want is they want to be able to pay attention to somebody who is even remotely confident. And the surest way to remove confidence from your talk is by apologizing for your very existence. You're not going to get sympathy. You're going to get people that tune out. And also, this is violating one of the most fundamental rules of communication. You're not thinking about them at all. You're trying to hedge your bets about how much this is going to suck. If I told you, now I made the joke about launching the podcast half ready, but that was a joke about me doing this no matter what. I know that what I'm saying is awesome because I'm having fun, and I'm having fun as long as I'm having fun, right? And I want to be here. I do. I want to be here. I'm giving you the best of what I've got. I'm giving you my brain. It's unfiltered at times. But if I started this podcast going, I don't know how this is going to go, and I don't know if anyone's going to listen to it, and I don't know if I have any credibility, right off the bat, you're like, I don't want to listen to this guy. He doesn't have the credibility. He told me he doesn't have credibility. I believe him. You're not going to be sympathetic. You're going to be unplugged and tuned out. Now, granted, if something happens and, you're 20 minutes late or something that you did something wrong. I mean, I'm not saying never apologize. I don't like the word never, but I'm just saying as a general rule, starting any talk with an apology is going to land you in presenter prison. People are not going to take you seriously and your credibility shot. I'm going to give you 3 reasons really quickly why you never ever want to do this. Okay, this is real simple. Number 1, the moment you say you're sorry, the moment you begin, you undermine your credibility. If you're presenting to your team and you start off by talking about how much you suck as a communicator, your team is like, gosh, I wonder what they're like as a leader. Holy moly. And if you're presenting to a group of people, like heaven forbid that you don't interact with on a regular basis, and you're talking to them about something that they need to do, why are they going to trust that you know what you're talking about? If you say I'm not nervous or I'm not prepared or I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm just going to go through the motions. Like, you're already telling them that what follows this statement is not worth your time. Remember, you are competing for their time. They have these little supercomputers. They have these things, and they're able to tune out of this talking head that doesn't care to be there and that is afraid to be there. So it undermines your credibility. It really especially undermines your credibility if you are a presenter for an event. If you're a presenter for an event, you're trying to sell something, like if you're a keynote speaker, which I'm going to talk about keynotes in a little bit here, but if you're a keynote speaker or you're a breakout speaker and you get up and you talk about how, the sound wasn't right and you're nervous and blah, 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 do you think I'm going to want to buy from you? I mean, do you think I'm going to be like, oh man, I'm sure their product is good because they seem so confident here? No. I'm not saying you have to be confident. I'm just saying you have to show that you're confident. That's what I'm saying. All right. Point number 2. Why do we never want to start with an apology? Because it shifts the focus from the audience to your insecurity. It shifts the focus from the audience to your insecurity. You went from, and if you've listened to anything so far, the previous episodes, you go from I should be focusing on them and their needs and what they're going through, and now, hey, what about me? I had a bad night's sleep. I have a stuffy nose. My dog is walking around, and she's walking around kind of aimlessly. She's bored because she's been quiet completely, and then the kids are gone and my wife's gone, and the dog decides that now she's going to become Christopher Columbus in a house that she's lived in her entire life, and sees what's going on. So I could sit there and go, I'm really distracted, guys. I hope I'm getting my point across. But no, you don't care. You want to know, like, why should I not apologize? Like, I'm here for you. You don't want to start your conversation like that because you're shifting the focus where it should be on the audience. Remember, the audience is thinking about themselves. You're shifting it to you and your weakest point, not your strongest point. Like, I hate to say it, but I'd almost rather you be, this isn't much more help, but I'd almost rather you be braggadocious. Oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to kill it. Hope you're ready for 30 minutes of unforgettable talking. That's even better than, oh man, I hope that this goes well. I took 16 Tums to come up here. Like, I've heard it all a million times. You think it's funny. You think it's getting sympathy. It's destroying your credibility and shifting the focus from the audience now to yourself, to your weakest points. But you don't want to do that. It takes the audience completely out of the picture. All right? Now, point number 3 as to why you never want to do this is it sets a negative tone. You started off on the negative. You undermined your credibility. You shifted the focus, but you're starting off by saying this journey, like a presentation is very much, any kind of presentation is very much like writing a book. When you write a book, and you open that book to somebody, and they open that page, the author is taking the hand of the reader and saying, come with me, I got a journey for us to share. We're going to share this together. When you are speaking, you are taking your audience on a creative journey, on a communication journey, I should say. And if you are not confident, it's like getting onto a bus with a bus driver that is like, I kind of don't know where I'm going. I read about this place that you want to go to. I think I know how to get you there. I'm pretty sure it's going to be safe, but we're just going to see. Are you getting on that bus? I'm not getting on that bus. I'm like, dude, I got Uber. I'm fine. Like, you just go along your merry way, Freddy Krueger. Take your bus ride to disaster somewhere else because I ain't going. That Freddy Krueger is a really deep horror movie reference. If you don't remember, Freddy Krueger drove a bus in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. I shouldn't acknowledge that I know that. That bit of trivia was probably too quick to reference in my brain, but it is what it is. So, yeah, Freddy Krueger, don't be like Freddy Krueger. As a communicator, people need to know that you're setting a tone and that you're setting the pace of where they're going. Once they give you a microphone, once you're ahead of the meeting, once you have the PowerPoint slide deck, you're in charge. Now, how you want that to look, that's a whole different discussion. But you sure as you're born aren't going to be able to garner confidence from your audience when you've already shot and aimed for sympathy. You don't want to do that, all right? Because it destroys your credibility. Now, I'm going to tell you what you can do in a moment that will help you to get greater credibility when you open a talk. But before I do that, I want to bring you a message from our very first sponsor. I feel like there should be music. I'm not going to get music. Oh, by the way, before I tell you about the sponsor, this is good news to you, okay? I have started to build a little podcast studio. Now, when I say a studio, you're thinking like a Joe Rogan building that's got cool backdrops and stuff. No. I'm literally just moving stuff into our basement. So I bought some lighting. I bought a desk. I'm going to be relocating and making it more professional. I still think it's professional. I mean, you're doing good if you're listening. You're getting all the things. But I'm working on a podcast studio, just so you know. So that's some exciting things. But I got something more exciting. Our first sponsor. You ready? Our first sponsor is me. I'm the first sponsor. All right. So I run a company called Glint Storytelling Group, and we have a very special, timely offer. This offer is going to be a workshop that we are going to be offering in March, at the end of March 31st, to be precise. And the workshop is gosh, I need to get some sort of music here. This is too dramatic. I don't want to over. The workshop is called From Book to Booking. That's the title of it. Like from write a book to get booked workshop. And here it is. This is what I know. If you're a communicator, if you're listening to this, or if you're a thought leader, if you're an executive, here's what I know about you, most of you. You've always had that dream of writing a book. Everyone has. They want to talk about their experience. They want to talk about their expertise. And they have one conversation. You have one conversation that you've had over and over and over again over the years. You're like, I should write a book about this. You know, people keep telling me I should do this. Okay, so here is me, and I'm going to tell you, yes, you should. But here's what I'm also going to tell you. Of the millions of people that want to write a book, in America in particular, most people will never write a book. They won't. And I could give you all the reasons why, but they're not going to write a book. So in this workshop, here's what we're going to do. This workshop is designed to get you to write a book that enhances your credibility as a speaker. One of the things that has gotten me a lot of credibility in my field when I worked for Dale Carnegie and when I did keynote speeches and when I've worked at the church is having a couple books to my name. I've written 5 novels. I've written 2 nonfiction books. And the book that has actually gotten the most traction is a very short book that is kind of an unknown, like it's not a commercial thing, but what it did is it boosted my credibility as a speaker. And so if you want to get on stages or if you want to get more speaking opportunities, or even if you're looking to get more coaching clients or people to your business, having a book to your name will get you there. So the course includes a 90-minute interactive workshop with me on March 31st at 7 p.m. So it's just me, and I'm going to be facilitating everything I know about writing a book in 90 minutes and how to set it up. So it's going to include, here's the parts of it. If you want the details, here's the quick and dirty on the details. It's going to include mindset, why you're not writing a book because of your mindset. And, you know, people make a book like it's a big deal, like, oh, I can't write the book. Like you're in charge of writing War and Peace, or you're in charge of writing Atomic Habits Part 2. I'm going to talk about that, and you're never going to have those mindset issues again. Second thing I'm going to tell you is how to get an actual plan and how to use tools that will actually help you get the book on the page. Actually write the words and get the book down. So we'll talk about a plan, talk about how you have to do it, some things that you can do to help you. And then the third, and maybe the most important, is once we get the book, I'm going to tell you how to package it, and I'm going to tell you how to promote it and how to promote yourself in it. Now, this isn't going to be a marketing how to write a bestseller. That's not the way this is. This book is going to be your supercharged business card. It's going to be what you use to get clients, to get on stages, to get connections, but really to get more speaking. So if that interests you, the introductory price that changes on March 26th is $447. Now you might be like, well, for a workshop, that's not all. It also includes an interactive workbook that you take with you to write your own action plan. And, ready for this? It includes one-on-one coaching session with yours truly. Yes, if you think this rich baritone is keeping you soothed and in the proper mindset now, imagine if you were looking at me face to face and I was showing you exactly how to get over those roadblocks that you have to writing your first book and to getting on stages with that book. So if that's of interest to you, go to my website, glintstorytelling.com/book-to-booking. That's glintstorytelling.com/booked-to-booking. And that link will be in the show notes. So please sign up for it. I've already got some people that are really excited. We're going to get some people's first books run and written. Yeah. And we are going to get that credibility cranking for you so you can make more money and connect to people like never before. So unpause. Thank you for our sponsor. Thank you, Sam. You're welcome, Sam. We got to get an announcer. I haven't broken enough even yet on revenue from this thing to get an announcer, but someday I'll get my Joe Rogan Jamie. I'm going to have a Jamie. My wife's name's Jamie, but she would be a terrible podcast producer because of the technology. So with that said, you don't want to ever apologize. Do you remember that? You're not supposed to apologize before you start a talk. You're not supposed to. So what can you do then? You're like, I don't know what to do. I've never done this before. Or I don't know how to run this meeting. This is my first time meeting the group. Here we go. 3 things. Number 1, 3 options that work well and they work often. Number 1, start with a story. you're to hear more about this, but I did a story brand workshop. Story brand is from a very, very well-known writer, Donald Miller. It's a marketing workshop, and I have a service where I do marketing. It's another service that our company offers that I can evaluate your company's marketing. But the thing that most people overlook about marketing is people respond to story. They love story. The brain is built by God to understand and take in story. The Bible is made of stories. And I told you before, I'm a Jesus follower, so I understand this more than anything, is the Bible is made up of a ton of stories. So starting a conversation or a communication or a presentation with a story is a quick win. And when I say start with a story, don't get up there and go, "Hi, my name is Sam, and I want to tell you about a story. When I was a kid, it was probably 1987. My parents didn't buy me Kentucky Fried Chicken one night, and I got really, really upset." That's a true story, by the way. I was really upset at the mall. I still remember I wanted Kentucky Fried Chicken because they just made it, and it was smelling really good. And my mom had just bought my sister something. She didn't buy me Kentucky Fried Chicken, and we still have issues because of it as a result, me and my sister. So that's a separate issue for the therapist. But my point is, nobody cares about that backstory. You're not sitting there going, "Well, tell me more about this chicken. Tell me more about 1987. What was that like?" No. Get us right into the story. It was pouring down rain in Pittsburgh, and that's when I thought I was going to die. Right? Or the first time that somebody punched me in the stomach after a talk was at the event center in Austin. Or my mom looked at me and said, "You're not going to be able to go to college. It's not going to happen." Right? So you want that opening line to be in such a way where people lean in. What are they talking about? What is it? I always refer to the story. Oh gosh, Charlotte's Web. And E.B. White. I knew it would come to me. Charlotte's Web, E.B. White. The first line of that book is just so drawing. It opens up with, "Where is Papa going with that axe?" That's it. You're like, "I'm in. What the heck is like who's not reading the second line?" You want to go right now and read that line. It's a brilliant opening line. It doesn't say, "Well, on this wonderful farm, there's blah 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 in Charlotte, and then there's a spot." You're like, no. It gives you this line that forces you to read it. The best authors know how to hook their reader right from the jump, and the best communicators know that opening is a precious opportunity to make a connection. So start with a story. Next of all, start with something funny that ties into something that happened before. This may not be available to every communicator. However, it is a slam dunk open net. That's two sports metaphors that I just mixed. For you, if you can get it to happen, here's how it works. Let's say you're in and you're doing a presentation where a lot of people are doing presentations. And let's say that somebody gets up and, a stage light falls while they're presenting and it smashes. And everyone's like, "Oh," there's that fear. And then that presenter, he gets to make jokes about, "Oh, it's in my talk is enlightening." Oh, like everybody's laughing. And oh boy, looks like I can really shine. Oh, so while this is happening, I want you to know if something like that happens where you are, you have a golden opportunity to capitalize on the previous funny. You don't have to be funny in yourself, but if you capitalize on somebody else's previous funny, so you get up and you go, yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I'm not ever going to invite the previous presenter to come to my house to look at my new chandelier that I just installed. It's over. That joke is going to slay. People are like, "Oh, he's talking about the other thing I found funny." Now, I'm not condescending the audience. Remember, you're bringing in a shared experience. And you're also showing, interestingly, that you are paying attention to something more than you. If you're able to focus. If somebody else makes a funny story, a funny joke, if they make a funny line, take that joke and make it your own. Don't copy them, but you make that a funny thing that we shared this together. It's saying, "Hey guys, remember we went through this together?" It's like looking through the family album with your kids. Like, "We were together here on this. Remember when we all laughed a little bit ago?" Sometimes I'll say something in church and it goes south. I know you can't believe that, but I'll make a joke and it's not funny. And then if somebody goes, ooh, they groan, I'll say, hey, remember a couple of minutes ago when you guys thought I was funny about that thing? Can we go back there? Like, I will reset myself. And so you can capitalize on that. Comedians call this a callback when it's something that you've already done. Like, if you have already made a funny joke earlier on, and then the speaking goes a little further, and then you call back to that joke, it instantly causes your audience to lean in and think that's hilarious. All right, so something funny that happened before. So make sure you reference what the other speakers were doing, something going on with the rooms, or something slow about registration. Be careful to be too disparaging. You don't want to badmouth anybody. Oh, man, the sound really sucked this morning, huh? Bet you're glad they got rid of that sound. I mean, well, the sound guy's still there, but he just changed the microphone. Like, you don't want to do that. All right. I feel like this is a random. This episode is going to garner some sort of a thought. Okay, so last but not least, if you can't capitalize on something funny, then tell a bold joke that ties into what you're about to say. Some sort of a joke. So, here's how you know if you can, and when I say a bold joke, what I mean is like a punchline joke. Now, this is hard to, all right, I'm just going to go for it. So, I am not a punchline joke person. It doesn't work well with me. The other pastor that I work with, who teaches half the time, he's a punchline joke person. He has a dry sense of humor that is not like deprecating. My sense of humor is deprecating. Like, I'll make jokes about myself and be like, oh man, just stupid jokes that you've already heard me make, like the sports references and those things, or like me making a mistake about something, or looking at, I don't want you to see both of my chins on the video, like whatever. Okay, so that's my humor. It's not like a punchline, like, a guy walks into a bar and says, ow. I'm not that person, because I tend to be funnier on the fly. I'm situationally funny. If you're not situationally funny and you're not comfortable in that lane, a punchline joke might be your jam, because you can find them online and you can modify them. You could ask ChatGPT or Grok. Grok will probably be better. That's Elon Musk's new. I think I've mentioned Elon Musk in every one of my podcast episodes. I just realized that. I don't know why, but I don't know. I just mentioned him. So anyway, his AI is a little more like conversational. It's Grok. It's through Twitter or X. So ask it for punchline jokes. It'll kill. And bonus points if you get the punchline joke to tie into what it is you're about to say. Because if you don't, then you're just telling a joke for the point of the joke, and that will often make you lose credibility. Make sure that it's clean, please. I've seen people, this goes really wrong. I've seen trainers make jokes that are like, oh, it's like we're friends. You don't know if we're friends. You don't know what the room is like. You don't know where people's conviction level is when it comes to their humor. You have no idea. So you don't want to blow your credibility off of telling a joke that you wouldn't tell your grandma, especially if your grandma is prudish, because that's what I'm talking about when I say grandma. So, 3 options: startling story, get them in there, pull them in. Where's Papa going with that axe? Number 2, something funny that happened before, capitalize on a previous funny. That's our shared funny. Or a joke that's a punchline joke, something that will get them into your talk that is dry. Never start off with them, Sam, I'm happy to be here, blah, 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 blah. Disaster. Don't do that. Get them into it. Just get them, you could tell them how excited you are to be there. You could tell them, you could kiss the dogs and pet the babies later if you want. I just mix that up, and that's not intentional, but that's the situational stuff I'm talking about. Kiss the dogs and pet the babies. You can pet the dogs and kiss the babies later in the talk, after you've already established that they should care why you care to be there. So with that said, no apologies. Start off strong. Get that buy-in quickly. And speaking of buy-in, buy my course. $447 for a limited time. It's going to go up to $557 on March 26th. From book to booking. GlintStorytellingGroup.com, book to booking. I will show you how to write a book and get booked to speak by having that book, having some promotion around that book. And we will help you finally write that book. I'm going to help you continue to do what you're doing for free on this podcast, though. All you got to do is shift your mindset, find your voice, and change the world. And that's exactly what you're going to do. So thank you for joining this episode. Ooh, and next episode, I'm going to tell you how you can avoid the trap that so many of us fall into when they have to speak somewhere that they're not familiar with, because that is a danger zone. And I'm going to give you some guarantees of how you can make sure that the next time you show up to speak somewhere, you are supremely confident. You're going to like this one because I filmed it in Nashville, so it's got a Nashville kind of feel to it. But until that next time, we will see you soon. Thank you so much.